going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to be talking about Dark Hunters and questions about using this whole team, if you can take one or two characters out, bring in some other characters in their place. And we're going to talk about that. I'm also going to talk about some other characters you can be bringing in that fifth spot. Like right now, a lot of people are talking about bringing in Mordo or Hela, a lot of the blinds, the stuns, the heal blocks with Mordo, and then spraying everything with Hela. So I'm going to talk about how there's some other really viable options for this team outside of those two for that fifth spot. And also just kind of talk about why you really should be working, why you should be running this full team. We're going to break that all down in today's video. If you guys do find this video helpful, you do enjoy it, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And let's just start by talking about why this is not a team you really want to break up for the most part. So far, we've had decent success with using the 3 Dark Hunters we have now. You bring in Mordo and you bring in Hela, and you have a strong team. They can punch across on some decent war teams. But once you get Morbius into the mix, this team is going to go to a whole other level. And number one, Morbius has a lot of stuff in his kit directly that is going to be very strong for your Dark Hunters team. Number one, his ultimate, which is an unblockable attack, which will flip deflect and defense up on all enemies, and then against city heroes, also going to be able to apply disrupted and trauma and heal block. So this is what's really going to make them be a counter to Heroes for Hire. And we also, I should just note, we did get a message earlier tonight, and released this in the morning. There was a message about an upcoming event for Morbius, so thank God he is not going to be a blitz. Unfortunately, he looks like to be some event, and I'm a little scared that he's going to be like a bare minimum 3-star unlock in that event. We'll see how that all works out, but his ultimate here flips defense up, flips deflect, and puts that trauma heal block and disrupted on city heroes. The big problem with this is that it is not a turn 1 ability unless you're running a full team of Dark Hunters, because you need this passive from Dr. Voodoo. With his passive, when he has 3 or more Dark Hunter allies, 2 ability energy for 4 random Dark Hunter allies herself that were not at full energy. Without this, it is a second turn ultimate on Morbius, and Morbius is the fastest character on your team at 128 speed, and Ghost Rider's just behind him at 127. So this team is relatively fast here, and then you start getting that negative effects in with Morbius, and he's chained down the line, he's flipping things, he's applying trauma, heal block, he's flipping defense up and a defense down. You're going to get a lot of speed bar going with this team. So then Ghost Rider moves, you got Voodoo, then you got Elsa, and you really want the full team for this. This is why, honestly, when all 4 come out, it's going to be better to use all 4 together. There could be some extenuating circumstances where, like, for instance, you could pull off Elsa. I'd probably pull off Elsa and bring in some other characters. But this full team is going to, like, the full potential of this team is realized when all 4 are here. So you can break them up, but you're kind of handicapping the team at the same time. That's not to say this team doesn't do well right now. We've already done videos talking about how these 3 plus other plug-in characters do great. So, you know, at the end of the day, if you're not going to get Morbius, you're still going to find use for this team in War. This is part of the upcoming Scourge event for the First Horseman for Apocalypse, so you will be using some of these characters there as well, but, you know, really, at the end of the day, if you have all 4, you really should be using all 4 together. Now, let's move on from that, and let's start talking about characters to plug into that 5th spot, because there is some really, really good options here. And some of these are actually going to work better if you were to, say, take out Elsa and bring in someone else. Like, for one of my characters here, I've actually got written down, like, I take Elsa out, I bring Mordo in, and that opens the way for another character to kind of plug into that 5th spot and be pretty solid. So we're going to talk about that stuff. So I'm just going to go down my list here of a few different characters, and some of these should not be surprising. Some of these are ones we've probably already thought about, and I'm going to start with Mr. Loki. Now, the reason why I really, really like Loki here, number one, he's got his mind control here, where he's able to apply defense down to the primary target, then calls two enemies if you T for it to attack, and they gain bonus damage for that. that really ties in as well with what you get with Dr. Voodoo, where Dr. Voodoo also uses his special on that first turn, applies ability block and defense down to the primary target, defense down to the adjacent targets, and then mind controls the 2 adjacent targets to attack that primary, and they gain 30% bonus damage for this. So you get 2 sets of defense down with this. You could really kind of spread that defense down around a little bit. Also, this right here, actually, I'll pass right by it. Fill up speed bar Mystic Controller allies by 10%. The reason why I like that is because Morbius is a Mystic Controller. So already pretty fast, 128 speed. You get a 10% speed bar boost on him. And now he gets even a little bit faster. Now you get more speed bar with him chaining down the line with his ultimate here, flipping that defense up and deflect. And also, you know, like, he can also use his special here to apply bleed to the primary and secondary targets. And yeah, at the end of the day, he's just going to chain down the line and do a lot of debuffs, and that's just going to speed up your Dark Hunters more and more. So Loki I really like because of the speed bar boost and the mind control. You combine it in with Dr. Voodoo. But also, we have the mirror images that Loki summons, and this is a big part of Dr. Voodoo's kit, and this is something I have preached about quite a bit, and why I really, really like the potential of Dr. Voodoo, because of his passive whenever any ally dies, gives offense up to all Dark Hunter allies. He gains +1 death proof on himself as well, but Loki summons in these mirror images. They're very weak, and they'll die pretty quickly. Each one that dies, 1 death proof on Dr. Voodoo, which gives him 5% bonus speed, up to a maximum of 25% or 5 stacks. And you get an offense up on your team. So you're increasing the damage, you're increasing the speed bar, you're getting that mind control, the defense down, gonna help kind of speed things up too as well for your team. I really like the potential of Loki on this team. So let's move on from that. Let's talk another one that I think people have probably talked about quite a bit, and that's gonna be Kestrel. And this ties directly into Morbius and Dr. Voodoo's kits. Kestrel's passive, where she assists or she attacks every time an enemy with defense down attacks, she attacks the most injured target for 400% damage. She has very solid damage. She starts with offense up on spawn, so she's going to have some great damage there, but also goes back into what we get with Morbius. And I want to see what we can do with Dark Hunters and Kestrel. I feel like we can do some really significant punch-ups against Heroes for Hire with Kestrel in that 5th spot on that team. Just see what it does, because Morbius flips that defense up and the defense down, flips those deflects, and now the entire enemy has defense down. Against Heroes for Hire, they now have trauma and heal block and disrupted as well. They ain't getting rid of that trauma and heal block when they drop below 50% health. Kestrel is just hammering them. And there you go. So Kestrel works really great with that, but also outside of that, again, flips defense up and a defense down with anybody on Morbius's ultimate there. There you go, defense down, now Kestrel starts assisting. She also has 2 abilities here that apply a lot of defense down. She can chain on her basic, her special hits, unavoidable, defense down on several enemies, and she does defense down on this. So all of these are going to have defense down. All of them are going to drive speed bar on your Dark Hunters. I really like the potential of Kestrel. I think Kestrel is going to be a very, very powerful 5th for Dark Hunters, especially against Heroes for Hire. And we'll do testing on that and see what they do. But also, I kind of want to see what we could potentially do with this against Eternals too. We'll see how that all pans out. So let's move on from that. Let's talk. We're just kind of going down. There's a lot of Mystic characters here for a reason, because there's a lot of passives and Mystic characters here that really kind of synergize nicely with this team. Deathpool. Number 1, her passive here. You already get some drain with Morbius on the team, but now with Deathpool, you get another 10% drain on your Mystic characters here. And then, on enemy death, that's its rate. Sorry, yeah. Here we go, on enemy death, she heals herself and damages the most injured enemy for some damage, and then clears positive effects. But also, this here, the only thing that her special cannot spread is stun. So, you get that ability block and defense down on a target. With Dr. Voodoo, you can now spread the ability block to 2 other targets. We've seen this before with Zemo and Venom. Back when Zemo first came out, it was really fun to put him in with symbiotes, because symbiotes with Venom could spread that ability block from the primary target to others. And Zemo's going to be on this list, by the way, spoiler warning. Zemo will be on this list too because of the ability block, but also the chain on his ultimate and everything. So, yeah, Deathpool here because she can spread things, and her passive here, she gets a little more bonus drain for your team. It just thought something I thought was worth noting, and how that kind of synergizes very nicely with Dark Hunters. They are all Mystic characters, so you do get those Mystic bonuses there. You know what? Since I already mentioned it, let's just talk about Zemo. Where is my Zemo? You know what? Let's make this easy. Where's my Zemo? So, yeah, Baron Zemo. His ultimate, ability block on the primary target, chains to other enemies, applies slow. He's very fast. He has, was it 140 speed, basically. He's gonna basically outspeed Morbius. So he can lead the way. He will. The one tricky thing is that he could get rid of like the defense up and deflex on the enemy team. So this is one that's a little niche. If you're not gonna be running to a team that's got deflex and defense up, this is probably better. But against those kinds of teams, you really want Morbius there because he's gonna flip that because it's unblockable. He has very good focus. So that's one that could potentially hurt you if you run to those kinds of teams with Zemo. You could lose those positive effects first, and that would just not be good. But the ability block and the speed down on him, that will drive the speed bar boost for your Dark Hunters. So, you know, just saying, like, that is some nice potential there. And really, that's kind of really it. There's nothing else there to say. Just that ultimate, the quick out of the gate, the ability block, the speed down, helping to drive the speed bar on your team. It's just something to consider. We're basically just going to go back to Mystic characters for the rest of this, because there's a few more to talk about here. And I mentioned earlier, talking about how I would be taking out Elsa and bringing in Mordo, and that's to kind of tie into Silver Surfer. And Surfer is in that interesting spot where he's kind of getting pushed out because of the power creep, and he's always like in that weird spot where he's kind of homeless. And this is where if you were to bring in Mordo, you bring in Surfer, and now you've got a little bit more power on your hands. For instance, here, lower the resistance by 50% for all enemies with heal block. Like, now you've got, now you have a better chance of landing debuffs on the enemy team. You also have his ultimate here, which can apply ability block on the primary target, clears charges, clears all positive effects, and applies heal block for 2 turns. So, you know, you get a lot of heal block flying around with him. You get the charge, you get the removal of the charges, you get the ability block on this, and he can't be countered or blocked or countered or he can't be countered or no, and he can't be blocked on that ultimate either. So you do have that power. You know, there's no Hero Cosmics on your team with this. Let me double check. Is Brother Voodoo or Dr. Voodoo? No, he is Hero Mystic. Okay. So, yeah, no, you would get some bonuses there with Surfer. I forgot for a second. I was like, I know Morbius is a villain. But, yeah, no. So, you would have the Hero Mystic boost here. But, no, it has to be Hero Cosmic. So, no. No. This won't work. It's got to be Hero Cosmic. Never mind. Disregard. We're going to move on. But, yeah, you won't get the focus bonuses here. Unless you're going against villain Cosmic enemies, you won't get that bonus in resistance. But that heal block here, the ability block on this, and then, you know, kind of stealing and transferring negative effects. He gets negative effects on himself. Transfer with his basic. You know, now that drives some more speed bar on your team. It's not bad. Not bad at all. And then one final one to talk about here. And we're actually going to go back to Supernatural here a little bit. And the reason why is because think about what you have with your Dark Hunters. You have that ability block. You have the defense down. You have the bleeds, you have potentially offense down, defense down with Ghost Rider's ultimate. You got a lot of stuff going on there. And what this really opens up the way possibly for is with Scarlet Witch. Now, because she's supernatural, she's going to get the speed bar boosts with Ghost Rider here. So now you get the ability to use her ultimate here, which is unavoidable, and can prolong negative effects on the enemy team. Now, this has no restrictions on what it can't prolong. So you can prolong trauma, you can prolong heal block with this, I believe. I'm pretty sure you can. We'll have to do testing with this to make sure. But even the ability block can be prolonged with this. Stuns or blinds that you bring with other characters, you can prolong those as well. Those bleeds If you prolong, then that really opens the way for the Striker on Morbius, because the Striker on Morbius steals 10% max health from the enemy target, transfers to himself. So, you know, there's some really strong synergy with that, in that she can prolong those negative effects. She gets the speed bar boost because of Ghost Rider's passive. So, you know, at the end of the day, she's gonna help prolong, and she's gonna be able to also give a kind of emergency heal. She redistributes, she gives deflect to your team. I like her over Doctor Strange, because Doctor Strange could potentially flip negative or positive effects and negative effects, and I really want to make sure that Morbius can flip things. I'm really, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, Strange could work, but I want to make sure that Morbius can flip things when possible. Maybe as the fight goes on, we could see more power with Doctor Strange in there, and Strange could be another strong addition to that team. So, again, this is something we're going to have to do testing with. We'll have to see, can Strange work as a solid fifth on this team? I like the potential of Scarlet Witch. But really, that's going to wrap it up for me. I want to hear from you guys. You guys think I missed anybody? Someone that I should really consider bringing in Dark Hunters? Anything else? Questions, comments, concerns? Make sure to drop them down below in the comment section. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. I will see you guys next time.